Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, I hope you're all doing well. It's Monday, start of a new week where Juventus will not play once but twice. We start already tomorrow, unusual on a Tuesday, but we start tomorrow Derby della Mole versus Torino, and these games are always difficult. Why? Because it's a derby, and a derby is unpredictable. Yes, there is always that sense of honor. Who is the boss of the city? Torino, they will do everything to win a game, but Juventus needs to give continuity of that 3-0 versus Nantes, and then slowly but surely we are going towards the game of L'Olimpico versus Roma on Sunday the 5th of March against our ex-number 10, the actual number 21 of Roma. We are speaking about Paulo Dybala. Guys, it is Monday. We are back on the channel, but also I am back after 3 days being far away, not being able to upload any single video. Looks like an eternity, looks so long. I totally missed it, and I'm happy that I'm back in a crucial, important week with not only one, but 2 games already planned. Guys, we have to go back in time, because a lot of things has been missed. We have to speak about Di Maria, we have to speak about Pogba, maybe called up for the second time, but maybe the few minutes tomorrow already versus Torino. We have to speak about Hojlund, we have to speak about Vlahovic, so many things. So I'm asking you, do you want to put a maximum of like on the channel? If you want to, do it. And otherwise, if you never did it yet, consider subscribing to the channel. We start going back in time. Where did we stop before leaving for 3 days with the family? Well, Angel Di Maria taking that ball from La Beaujoire after a hat-trick and bringing it back to Torino. Not only the ball, but also the qualification to the next round. If there is one thing that I'm super sad about, is the fact that I had not the opportunity to really honor the game of Angel Di Maria versus Nantes. Not only the fantastic first goal at the 5th minute, the first touch that he had in that game. What a goal that will probably go to the nominee of the Puskas Awards for the most beautiful goal of the year. No, not only that, but also the performance, the aura around the player, that not only was able to perform himself, but also making sure that all Juventus, all players were able to perform even better. What a player. I'm super happy that we have the level of Di Maria on the field, that we have a player of that caliber. Mamma mia, fantastic. Would I extend him? Absolutely yes, without any doubt. Angel Di Maria is fantastic. But of course, we saw a lot of Di Maria in that game. What I want to know for the upcoming games is understanding if the 3-0, the beautiful 3-0 against Nantes, was casualty because they were with 10 men. I need to understand if it was only because of a top performance of the Argentinian boy, or if Juventus is back in being dominant. And we will understand it already tomorrow versus Torino, a big game. Well, our opponents in Europa League for the official round of 16 are already known. We are speaking about Freiburg, a team that when you see the team taking out of that draw, you're probably thinking, luckily it is not Arsenal. My reaction was, it is Freiburg, it is Freiburg. I don't know. I am not scared, I am not worried, but on the other hand, I am not relaxed neither, because Juventus were able to be eliminated versus Lyon, versus Ajax, versus Porto, versus Villarreal, always in Champions League, yes, but we're also able to qualify. We are speaking about years ago, against bigger names like Real Madrid, like Barcelona, and so on and so on. So you never know. On paper, it looks like an easy name, but if you're looking at Bundesliga, these guys are 5th at -5 from the leaders of Bundesliga. We are speaking about Bayern Munich and Dortmund. They are really there. They are close to qualify automatically in that top 4 of Champions League. So attenzione, a team that yesterday versus Bayern Leverkusen did 1-1. They were winning at the halftime 1-0 with one that we already know, Vincenzo Grifo, the one that are following the Italian national team. They know the Italian striker they have. He's not the only one that is dangerous. Offensively, playing that 4-2-3-1, it's a dangerous team, but like a lot of German teams, they are lacking a bit in the back, giving a lot of spaces. Bayern Leverkusen could potentially score a lot of goals before the 1-1 of Asmund. Do you remember Asmund? That were linked because of Di Marzio to Juve instead of Dusan Vlahovic. Anyway, we'll have time to speak about Freiburg because the first game is on the 9th of March, so we have time, tranquilli. Let's focus on Derby della Mole, because vero derby, vera Juve, a real derby, real Juve. Why real Juve? Because probably, maybe, and we will know more from Max Allegri a bit later in press conference, there could be potentially the first possibility to have 4 players, the fantastic 4 called up for the very first time, playing together from the first minute, forget about it, but at least being called up, and that could give a massive boost. We are speaking about Dusan Vlahovic, that until now played 56% of the available minutes in the 22-23 season. Angel Di Maria 35% of the minutes played, Federico Chiesa 17.5, and Paul Pogba 0 minutes. It will not be the first time that Paul Pogba could potentially be called up. He was called up versus Monza but didn't play a single second. Well, we are trying again. Probably he will be there. Imagine the chance of Juventus, the chance of Max Allegri to turn himself, looking at the bench and seeing all these fantastic players. And that's why probably Max Allegri is thinking about the double system that he can change in the game. He already started to implement it, that 3-5-2 that becomes a 3-4-2-1, but especially turning during the game towards a 4-man defense. The 4-man that a lot of us were asking. 4-3-3 is something in minds of Max Allegri. Will it be like that already from tomorrow? We don't know, because tomorrow Locatelli is suspended and will not be able to play versus Torino. We know it. Big problem there in the midfield, knowing that McKennie is not there, that Paul Pogba will probably start on the bench if he is called up, and he will absolutely not enter before the last 10 minutes of the game, maybe even the last 5 minutes. So there is a problem there in the midfield, so we are counting on one man that will, at the 22 years old, will have to take the responsibility on that midfield. Even more than Adrien Rabiot, we are speaking about the guy that is called Nicolo Fagioli. Also him, top performance versus Nantes. From the first minute until the last one, he was on fire. What a performance of the R number 44. Well, tomorrow we could potentially give another chance, the million chance, to Paredes in that 3-5-2, being the regista instead of Locatelli, with the problem that if you're looking at the bench, probably nobody will be there to support that midfield in second half. Or you can potentially go with a 2-man midfield with Fagioli and Rabiot starting, with Di Maria and maybe even Cuadrado behind Dusan Vlahovic, with De Sciglio playing there, with all the fullbacks there immediately. De Sciglio, Cuadrado, Danilo and Alexandro in that 3-5 or 3-4-1. Why? To give some potential changes in second half for the midfield with a Paredes, with maybe a Barrenechea, with a Paul Pogba. Let's see what will happen there. Chiesa could potentially enter in that second half, Vlahovic from the start. You can potentially also go towards a 3-4-1-2 with the trio or the trident made of Vlahovic, Moiskin and Angel Di Maria, so a lot of options. We will know a bit more a bit later. Well, speaking about Dusan Vlahovic, in the last days where I was away, they were already starting speaking about Hojlund. Who is Hojlund? The striker, the young striker of Atalanta that is doing fantastically well with the Bergamaschi. Why are they speaking about him? Because there is the possibility of Vlahovic leaving Juventus. Well, these voices, great to speak about them. Of course, they are on the paper, so we have to report it. I didn't give it too much importance at the moment. Why? Because Hojlund is a fantastic player, but we are speaking about 1 year ago a Vlahovic that was fantastic at Fiorentina. Guys, changing every season makes totally no sense. Looking at the new potential crack, at a certain moment Vlahovic had to be that crack, that fantastic phenomenon. He didn't deliver yet at what we were expecting due to injuries, due to the World Cup, due to inability to work with Max Allegri, maybe due to a lot of reasons, partially because of him, partially because of Juventus. Well, I need to insist on that player where we invested so many money before thinking about a new potential player. Also because Hojlund is a player that loves to attack the spaces. Well, why am I saying that it's a bit too early to really go into detail before going and deep diving into that news? Is because first we need to understand a lot of things. Are we going in Europa League? Are we going in Champions League? Are we competing for European spots? Yes or no? Who will be the next coach of Juventus? There are so many, but really so many variants before taking really a deep dive into that news. So I want to skip it at the moment. The neat thing that I really want to speak about is that we didn't give up on Dusan Vlahovic. If you're looking at the training that was open for the supporters, you could see that Allegri worked individually after the training session with Dusan Vlahovic for 20 minutes. What were they working on? Positioning, unmarking themselves. They were working on body to body with a defender on him. So Max Allegri wants to invest, he wants to believe, he wants to make Dusan Vlahovic better, to score, to go back to the level that we were expecting. And that's what I want to focus on at the moment, on the improvements of Dusan Vlahovic. Anyway, speaking about Mercato, what is real and what we can do, as I already told you, like we did for Dean Huijsen, like we did for Mulazzi, for other young players, is focusing on the players that we already have from our next gen or under 19. Nongué, Joseph Nongué Buendé is a player that Juventus is believing in. I already told you, I watch him in real life, but even before that, that this is a fantastic player. Well, Juventus, they are aware of it and they are doing everything to extend the player that is really, really strong. Guys, if there is one name that you have to note on your books after Dean Huijsen, is Nongué. Nongué, fantastic player, midfielder that can potentially, I really say it, I bet on it, he can potentially enter that first team of Juventus in 1, max 2 seasons. Anyway, Juventus is investing in these young players. Look at yesterday, the winning team was also made on Bangula, another player that I really believe in. Sule, we are speaking about Barrenechea, Ealing Jr. together with a Paul Pogba, a Vlahovic, a Rugani, a Perin. So we are investing really in these players. Anyway, speaking and going back to Serie A, we have to say that yesterday, after the flop of Inter, well, Juventus is not virtually, we can say, is still second. If today we win, after a win of Milan yesterday, we can potentially go at virtually 50 points in Serie A. Far from Napoli, that totally deserve to win that Scudetto, but if at the moment we are behind Bologna, virtually, if we receive back these 15 points, we are second. And this also shows that in one of the most difficult seasons of Juventus, Juventus is not in terms of result, not performance, doing that bad. Corriere dello Sport is opening with Si spacca l'Inter. Inter has broken because yesterday they lost versus Bologna 1-0 and could have been even worse. Gazzetta dello Sport is speaking about Milan that is back, not only with the 3 points, the 2-0, more than 1 goal scored, but also with Ibrahimovic and Maignan that were back there. Guys, I told you March will be a crucial month because Roma we start with, then we have 2 times Freiburg, we have Sampdoria, and then we have Inter in Serie A in their home. So it will be a spectacular month of March. I hope that you are all ready, that you put a maximum of like, that you subscribe to the channel so that you are sure to not miss any single video. Grazie for all the support. I'm back. I'm happy to be back on the channel. Grazie, forza, Juve.